Representative Pafford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have two questions directly from the bill. There's language that's been struck specifically under the employer satisfaction guidelines. 491, it looks like, to 501, those lines. Specifically, write and speak in a logical and understandable style with appropriate grammar, all the way down to maintain an orderly and disciplined classroom conducive to student learning. My question is, if those 5 areas have been deleted from statute, from specifically the employer satisfaction guidelines, isn't that suggesting that this is a top-down type of guideline from Tallahassee to the local districts where they are not able to grade their employees, those teachers?
Representative Legg.
Thank you, Representative Pafford, and restate your question if I'm not answering this correctly in terms of hitting the nail point. This issue here is dealing with our colleges of education and the satisfaction survey that they send out to the districts in terms of their employees that are there. Are the employees that they are producing, are they meeting the standards by which they're an effective employee into their schools? So what has happened is we've applied the best practices standards in the bill to reflect those very issues, but we've also incorporated learning gains. So it's not that the employee is being evaluated for their performance at their job, it's to reflect the colleges of education and to give them feedback on the employees that their graduates that they are putting into the schools. Is that correct?
Representative Pafford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Representative Legg. To move the process along, just one more question, and thank you for your answer. Specifically, there is new language inserted into this bill for the 2010-2011 school year. A district school board shall not assign any beginning teacher to teach reading, science, or mathematics if he or she is not certified in reading, science, and mathematics. My question is, based on that new language, will a local school district lose the flexibility that it currently has to hire a professional, an educator, with an advanced degree in one of those areas?
Representative Legg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Excellent question, Representative, because there's a little bit of confusion on this. No, they don't, because it says that they don't have a certification. You can get a temporary certification, and if they have a master's degree, basically they just have to go through the normal fingerprint process, the FDLE background checks, in order to get that temporary certification to get into the classroom.
Representative Pafford.
Just one follow-up. So when it says that a school board shall not assign any beginning teacher to teach reading, science, and mathematics, they can?
Representative Legg.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As long as they have a temporary, at least a temporary certification.
Representative Pafford, excellent questions, right to the point in the bill. Appreciate that. All right, Representative Pafford. If you would clear the aisles and take your seats, members, please take your seats. Please take your seats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you for the quorum call. I've got some pretty interesting news right from the St. Petersburg Times. Governor Christ has vetoed Senate Bill 6. Now, I realize thank you. Now, Mr. Speaker, I realize that's quite funny right now, but Mr. Speaker and members, there...
Okay, Representative Pafford. We've been doing very good all night. We want to keep it high and tight. Representative Pafford.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now, that news is rather entertaining, but there is the very real possibility that the governor will veto this legislation. And as much as that's rather funny at the moment, we're each going to have to defend our decision if the governor vetoes this bill. And to me, that's quite serious. Because, members, I took the time to read the bill. In fact, I wrote 38 amendments. And I know the bill pretty well. And I can tell you the teachers are going to hurt. Students and families are going to suffer. Local school boards are going to lose flexibility and money. That is what this bill does. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a moment for this chamber to take the lead in this state and make a bad situation. As Representative Steinberg had mentioned, we got this train barreling down the tracks. I'm seeing a train wreck. I'm not pleased. I've got a 14-year-old son. I've got a 17-year-old daughter some of you had the pleasure of meeting. Both of those kids are in public school. I'm a product of public school. I think I did fairly well. But members, I have to tell you, in the last 2 weeks, there have been 2 opportunities for folks in this chamber as individuals to make some very, very independent-minded decisions. And you've lost that partisan cloak for a brief moment, and guess what happened? You came back here the next day and you're still in your seat, and you're still voting, you're still part of this great chamber. The only people that can knock us out of our seats are the people that we are invested with back in our own districts. I'm not going to waste a lot of time. I did pretty well in questions yesterday. I understand this bill very, very clearly, members. I would urge you to please consider making the right choice for you, being the individual, the member you were prior to becoming part of this great chamber. Allow those folks who put you here to understand that you are still that same person, the individual that decided to run for office, the individual who is a independent thinking and good-willed person who wants to do the best for their constituents. At the end of the day, we all go back to our districts. I feel very, very confident that my vote against this bill I will easily defend. I ask you to please join me, be bold and courageous, and defeat this very bad bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Pafford. Thank you. Representative Legg, having closed, the question now recurs on final passage of CSCS-SB. The clerk will now unlock the machines, and the members will proceed to vote. All members voted. All members voted. All members voted. Will the clerk please lock the machine and announce the vote?
64 yeas and 55 nays.
The bill passed.